This video addresses Nannette Nekora's accusation that in 2004 I attempted to steal money from my ex by having her sign a document. However, I didn't learn about this particular accusation until 2006. Before we talk about what happened in 2006, let me explain what really happened in 2004. At the July 13th hearing, my attorney asked me why my ex's name was being printed at the top of my financial statements, and asked me if I could get them removed to prevent confusion with the court. I talked about this in video A2, where I addressed the printing error. My home office acknowledged they had a printing problem, but said it could be fixed using a particular form. I filled out that form and dropped it off at my ex's apartment for her signature. After that, I never thought again about that form until it was brought up in 2006 by Nannette. In early 2006, a few months prior to a divorce trial, a committee of brethren assembled to see if they could recommend a compromise settlement in order to avoid the trial. The committee was composed of the Nekoras, Peter Morrow, Wade Austin, Peter Knapp, and Bob Brand. David Rice was also there, but he was pushed aside by this group. They met at my home for a couple of hours to hear my side, and then went to my ex's home to hear hers. At my home, I began my presentation by going through facts and evidence that could clear my name of some of the many accusations against me. In the middle of my presentation, Nannette handed me that very form and asked if I had given it to my ex for her signature in 2004. You know, the context and implications are impossible to duplicate here in this space and time. But essentially, it was clear that I had tried to use that form to steal money from my ex. I looked at the form. I couldn't recall ever seeing it before. I looked at the title. I looked at the text to see if I could understand what it's saying. I couldn't understand what the form was for at all. However, it was clear it had my handwriting on it, and I admitted it. The very act of drawing a complete blank had the unintended effect of making me look suspicious. I knew I had not tried to harm my ex because I never did that. That was not anything that even came to my mind. The only thing I could do was admit that my handwriting was on the form, but confess I had no memory of giving it to my ex. On the way from my home to my ex's home, Nannette Nekora called Shana Dutka, and Shana confirmed that I did indeed give that form to my ex to sign in July of 2004. I was branded a liar, and Shana confirmed it. Every argument and fact I had given to the committee to consider was completely ignored. In their eyes, I was a confirmed liar. After several days, the committee published what was a ridiculous set of recommendations. There was zero compromise in it. Even my ex's attorney was asking for much less. I told Bob Brand, who had assembled the group, that the recommendations were, in my opinion, a joke, and asked that someone like Nancy Clayton review it and provide a second opinion. He agreed, and Nancy spent several hours interviewing people and reviewing the facts of the case. She wrote a report that was critical of the committee's recommendations, pointed out facts they ignored, and exposed pronounced biases. In response, Nannette and Boone wrote emails trashing Nancy's intelligence, character, and integrity. Sadly, but very indicative of the spiritual state of the Bible student leaders, not a single person on that committee stood up against these Bible student bullies in Nancy's defense. I plan to document how this committee allowed lies and false accusations rather than truth to drive their recommendations, and I'll do that in a subsequent video series. Should the group have concluded I was lying about the form, rather than assume evil motives, why not ask, what does the form do anyway? Since I don't have that older version from 2004, let's look at today's version of the form. It's the same form, and it has the same function. It has never changed, but it has been rewritten to be much easier to understand and no longer requires a signature. This is what it says at the top. This form is completed for clients who do not want to participate in householding, as defined below, and wish to segregate their individually owned assets from the existing household group in which the client currently participates. That's what it does. In video A2, we looked at the group client account hierarchy used by my company. What this form does, and the only thing it does, is it gives the parties wishing to opt out of that system their own individual group number. Thus, their accounts are separated out for the printing of statements. That's all this form does. It doesn't transfer money. It doesn't transfer ownership. It can't remove someone's name from a jointly owned account. It can't be used in any way to harm the person signing it. Did Nannette know this? She could have and should have. After all, she used to work for a bank. But here's a more important reason that she should have known. She had 18 months to find out what that form was used for. It would have taken all of 5 minutes to call the company and ask a couple of questions. This leads me to ask the next question. If this form can't harm the one signing it, then why should I have denied having a memory of it? Let's see, is it possible I was simply being honest? You know, we forget things. Is it possible that that happened? What factors can cause one to forget something? How about the length of time since the event happened? How about the setting in which the event needed to be recalled? How about its relative importance to other things in the past? Is 18 months long enough to forget something like that? Sure it is. Is it possible that being put on the spot in a stressful situation could cause one to draw a blank? Of course. How important was it in its context? Well, let's take a look back at the time that I delivered that form to my ex. It started with a court hearing. My dad was ill. I stayed up with him all night, maybe getting 1 hour of sleep. On Wednesday of that week, I got back from caring for my dad. I got Michael's email where he disfellowshipped me. I was shaken and probably didn't sleep well that night either. On Friday, I stayed with my dad all night, and he passed away early Saturday morning. I'd missed 3 nights of sleep so far that week. And then on Monday, as I was preparing for my dad's funeral, I was accused by my ex's attorney of unlawfully stealing money from her accounts. Thus, this form became a very small detail in a very big week. I just simply didn't think about it ever again up until the time that it was brought up by Nannette. There's another reason that the form faded into the background. It was never needed. The following month, that printing error that had lasted for so long was fixed, and my ex's name was no longer printed on my statements. And so I never thought about it again or needed the form ever again. I could go on, but I think I've made my case. Remember, I was in the middle of clearing my name from some serious accusations against me, accusations that Nannette herself helped to spread and to promote. Why did she wait until that moment to bring up that form? Was she eager for me to clear my name of the accusations she had a part in? Well, what do you think? Is the truth important to you? Write down the number on your screen and call Ameriprise for yourself. Here's the form number. Write that down as well. Ask for client data when you call, and talk to the person and ask for yourself. What does this form do? Can it be used to hurt somebody? Can it be used to transfer money? Can it be used to deny somebody of any of their accounts? You see, getting to the truth is just a matter of a little investigation sometimes. Surmising evil is easier, but it has significant consequences and can help destroy someone's reputation, especially even an honest person's reputation, and it can also destroy your own character. This group of Bible students was given an opportunity and a test. They could have saved my ex and I tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees. They also could have proven themselves faithful in the Lord's service by coming up with a settlement that was fair and just. But instead, Nannette was able to block my efforts to clear my name and thus steer the group to a set of recommendations that was grossly biased against me. They wasted their time, but more importantly, the Lord showed them to be unfit to judge any matter. This concludes video A4. Please proceed to video A5, where I will talk about the claim that I tried to run my ex out of money. Thank you for watching.